goal.
Showing devotion and faith in the Triple Gem is the gateway to the practice of Dharma. Without faith, one can't possibly expect a practice of Dharma to flourish, just as a seed that is burned could not be cultivated.
Deva is some here, Tony Deva Sana, and then Chambu in somebody, Tony Deva. They go home top Google somebody, David Deva. Dena, Jab Jona, so I made somebody, easy Deva some here.
The faith that is so important are three kinds. First is the lucid faith. Lucid faith is the state of mind that becomes completely lucid by seeing the qualities of the Triple Gem. It inspires you so strongly within you. That's called lucid faith. And aspirational faith is a faith that makes you to motivate to attain that state oneself. And entrusted faith is the faith that is unshakable, that you yourself have validated through your experience. These are the three types of faith that one needs to cultivate. There are also two types of faith, about stable faith and unstable faith. Unstable faith is faith that is mainly cultivated on the basis of influence of other people. You yourself lack the understanding of the qualities of the Triple Gem, but merely simply being swayed by someone's influence, thinking it is good, but you have no reason of knowing why it is so. That kind of faith, however easily cultivated, will be unstable one. The stable faith is that understanding of the qualities of the Triple Gem you yourself have realized, and thus cultivated a deep-seated seed of the faith in yourself through knowing the qualities of faith. Qualities of the Triple Gem is called stable faith. However, it is almost impossible to be able to fathom the infinite qualities of the Triple Gem. But here one must make attempt to understand as much as our capacity allows us to know the qualities of the Triple Gem.
Pursak Namka Zochana Chilo Chega Mares, Soso Nuba Zona Chilo Chegiori. Tega no yen, Sonja and then the Chonchu Samba Keba Kandaji Hiena Yon, Koronka Log Pop Sen and Sonju Jamamba, Sonja and the Zona Sonju Yama.
For instance, it is the great master Chandakriti said that when the bird soars up in the sky and flies, and all of a sudden it returns and comes back or lands, the reason for that is not because the limit of the space has made it impossible. It is not the limitation of the space that makes the birds to land, but because of the effort of the bird itself is exhausted by the immensity of the infinity of the boundlessness of the space. Likewise, the qualities of the Triple Gem, the qualities of the Buddha is like as infinite as space. Even great bodhisattvas and very great scholars, however eloquent are they to express the qualities of the Triple Gem, they cannot possibly express all. It will totally exhaust their effort in doing so, because the qualities of the Triple Gem are inconceivable. The meaning of boundlessness or infinities of qualities of the Buddha is, as scholars attempt to explain the qualities of the Buddha, it doesn't mean the qualities decreases. It means that the qualities doesn't decrease, and therefore it remains infinite as it was, no matter how one expounds. So this is the meaning of the what is called boundlessness or inconceivability of the qualities of the Buddha. This is the reason why I am going to explain on the sutra that actually spells out the specific qualities of the Triple Gem. And the study and the reading of the sutras is a very important part of the teachings of the Dharma, for it helps to sow the seed, lay the foundation of faith that is not there, and it consolidates the faith that is already cultivated there. So reading and contemplating and studying on the sutras is very important. Without that, one can't keep the faith going. For instance, Atisha said when he came to Tibet that the little faith that he came with from India to Tibet is keep decreasing because there aren't enough sutras for him to read.
Khenchen Appey Sanskrit Rena Sanskrit Sujurwa. Ngone Tsi Juna Khenchen Appey Ina Rinpoche Tele Yanten Chu Tsaya Rechapare Ti None Kambo Yimbato Chodu Churwa Yimbati Tanda Ni Tole Tandur Shene Khenchen Jurgapa Rechapare.
So the sutra that you have is the sutra recollecting the qualities of the Triple Gem. The Sanskrit word for the gem is ratna. The word ratna really means precious. The word precious here can be ratna in Tibetan is guncho. Guncho means rare excellencies. Gun means rare, and chok means that is excellence. These two explicitly list the two of the 6 qualities of the Triple Gem. So actually the word ratna or konchok actually implicitly mentions the 6 qualities of the Triple Gem. But here the rarity and excellent nature are expressed by the word what do we call ratna or konchok in Tibetan.
Jesus Tembasan, Yante Mahiro Nam Satu Hiver Shenke, Shiva Teso, Jesus Tember Shiva, Tante Insumber, Jesus Tembi. Dosana, Tando Nimbo, Lord Dudushan, Sumber, Dosa.
And that's the recollecting, meaning that people who are not familiar with the qualities of the Triple Gem, those who do not know the qualities of the Triple Gem, they get to know what they are. Those who are familiar, then that recollecting, reading the sutra makes one's understanding to become more firmly grounded so they do not go away. Sutra meaning it's a brief summary. Sutra really has a meaning, condensed meaning of the entire teachings. So therefore it's the recollecting sutra of recollecting the Triple Gem is the title of the sutra we have.
How can you say to what's the as a young conga, Deb Conga None, your in somebody, Dele Chabato Papa.
The word, the Arya Ratna, refers to the what is called holy, precious one, meaning the word Arya really means that surpasses everything, that which there is no comparability, it's completely incomparable from all things. The word Arya is usually the prefix to the word Ratna or the precious.
Did that is an Khenchen something the
The sutra begins with thus. The word thus really actually saying that if one were to expound the qualities of the triple gem, it is as follows.
Sonja jamnende tenisenu kanchu sumnongne tombo sonja kurhi hinchebal. Sonja jamnende tenisenu sonja jamnende hi tsenyanke. Sonja jamnende hyua tene une hyandene jihis.
So out of the three precious jewels, here is the first of the three jewels, that is the Buddha, the fully enlightened, which is called fully accomplished Buddha, meaning the Chomdende refers to one who has completely accomplished all the qualities, the fully enlightened Buddha as we know.
Then Degin Kiba said, Tarangatasana, Degin Sana, Chu Tamjeji, Nesuru Chetalimba, Degindu, Manorwa, Hesana, Zibitano, Dobitano, Chu Tamjeji, Nesuru Kandaimba, Teso Chason, Manorwa Zinhen, somebody, Degin Kiba.
So word Tathagata, another epithet of the Buddha. Word Tathagata means thus gone, meaning one who is completely omniscient of the nature and reality of all phenomena, who knows the nature and truth and reality of all phenomena, and has thus gone, meaning gone beyond the actual state of ordinary existence as we are. So word Tathagata, Tatha meaning thus, Gata means gone, knowing one who has gone from here by knowing the nature of all phenomena, and thus gone beyond all conventional existence.
Cheba Puru Yimbena, Rachambasi, Yana Pekele, Racham Sejurgori.
Chebra to Jugla?
La Chebra, Cheba Puru Yimbena, Aharte, Cheba Puru Yimbena.
The word Arhat is another epithet for the Buddha. Of course, the Sanskrit word is Arhat. In Tibetan is Pakpa, which really refers to actually one who is worthy of making offerings to. Of course, the word Arhat actually means one who has destroyed all the emotional foes of inner emotional foes, meaning foes that of inner kind, that one who has completely destroyed them, and thus worthy of making offerings to.
Drachambasadu, dressing the penna, Sosol, Mendapa, Shingan, Ndapanon, Parching, and Drasser. Tetabu. Dratane dancing there. So Mendapa Tovasinke and Deba Top Muchugete Nyamumba Yinda, Nyamumba Drasser.
Here, when we refer to destroying the enemy here is by definition is one who obstructs to fulfill your wishes, and one who brings upon difficulties upon yourself. Whatever you anticipate, it causes obstacles. This is what is called enemies. The most heinous of all obstacle makers is one's own defilements. So therefore, one who has completely overcome those inner defilements, which are themselves obstructive to our own well-being, is the actual enemy here it is referring to.
Konga Nyamo Beche, they do say Pavarian Rinpoche. Then Nyava Tripanda doing a Chambotes on Nyamo Beche, Tamar Bidak, Tugema.
The inner defilements are great enemies indeed. Ordinary enemies only cause temporal obstacles, whereas inner defilements create all our defilements and negative actions that we find ourselves trouble in. So all the sufferings that we have are a result of the created by the great enemy of inner defilements. And this great enemy of defilements not only is occasional, but it's almost all the time. And not only all the time, but consequently it throws us into the lower realms of such as hell rebirth. No any enemy can possibly throw us into any state of rebirth such as hell being, but our inner enemies do. Thus, defilements are regarded as the great enemies.
To Jobo Chobato, Ned Mesik and the Chogia, Nyamobida, Partangon, Durun Rogia, Teganogia, Jitem Brothers of Sosupa never see Matuna, Coron, Ronhijab, Ronsa sing, the cigarette, Nyamon, but Durmaton again, Taki Sejaman, Jasa, Sugartun, and Durgoya, Dades, Jamgoya.
The reason why this great enemy has to be subdued or destroyed is that it's unlike ordinary enemies. It doesn't become or come to extinct by merely adhering to it. Ordinary enemies, if you adhere to their wishes, then they cease to become enemies, and so they are therefore only temporal. But if you adhere to defilements, instead of having help, it causes more harm to oneself. So therefore, these inner enemies is not something you adhere and rely upon, but rather it has to be completely subjugated and destroyed. Whereas ordinary enemies, by adhering to, maybe trying to do wishes according to them, then all the enemies cease to become enemy and they become friends instead. Whereas defilements, by adhering to or letting oneself go under the influence, it causes further self-destruction. This is why what we call, you have to destroy, completely annihilate this great enemy of defilements.
Nama jagar ke jabu ke jaro zuchin ni bote korun drati ba den ndursale tena mo pungshen rogi ti langane temba donjer tembe kan donne kavando inson du kordan dur kan ro inse tene tembe son cheron drate shilu yo mare cheron drate nonglo yo nyamo ba don zin te so drari ten dur gure son du tene zuchin ni bo shilu cheba yin.
Once upon a time, during the time of Buddha, there was a great Indian king by the name of Bimbisara. Bimbisara is a very reputed warrior and fighter, and he was marching with his huge troops to subjugate one of his enemies. On the way to the battle, he met Buddha on the road, and Buddha asked him, "Bimbisara, where are you going?" And Bimbisara said, "I'm on my way to kill or destroy my enemies." And the Buddha said, it will be a fruitless exercise, because the real greater enemy is one within you. Unless you subjugate that, you would never succeed in subjugating any form of enemies. Hearing this, then Bimbisara returned back and therefore gave up the activities of overcoming external enemy.
Yung tabar zobi sonje se tu yung tabar dana jan mebe na yung tabar zobi dana yanten tamje zo song te dabi sonje cheba sonje le chir sum yori nyentu sonje chungu rong sonje jingbo zobi sonje de sonje chenbo ri chesa sonje chunshun tene mayinba jan konga tao tsaro yanten tamje zo sonje sum.
And perfectly enlightened one here refers to the actual, the heightened qualities of enlightened one. There are actually three kinds of enlightened, three Buddhas: Sravaka Buddhas, Pratyeka Buddha, and Samyak Sambuddha. So perfectly enlightened one refers to Samyak Sambuddha, meaning Samyak Sambuddha in Sanskrit, meaning completely and perfectly enlightenment, meaning one has completely extinguished or relinquished all faults, one has completely accomplished all the possible qualities, is defined by the word Samyak Sambuddha, or perfectly and a completely enlightened one. And this word epithet doesn't quite belong to the Sravaka Buddha or Pratyeka Buddha. This refers to the greater Buddha. There is a lesser Buddha, and intermediate Buddha, and a greater Buddha. And a fully enlightened, perfectly enlightened one is one who has annihilated all faults, accomplished all qualities. Here it refers to the third.
Riba don hyapsa demba tsana Ripasana mi, Hyapsana Kumbari, Midon Kumba Yankin Sumbari, Titanda Ripasana Lava Sogunone, Hirap Tilavari, Nesu Ribi Loinza. Hyapsana, Tera Lantong Hirap Chevi, then something though, Surimni Bottle, Hyapsung, Jasa Sonjete, Slava Sumkin, Yone Tarchimbachi, Yen Sumbari.
So here in the translation we have learned and virtuous one, but traditionally the learned and one with a spiritual leg, that would be the literal translation. Learned here refers to in Tibetan the Rigpa meaning one who is endowed with the cognition of the transcendental wisdom, one who endows the spiritual eye of the wisdom, and so there is this pairing the wisdom eye and legs of spirituality. So spiritual eye here refers to one of the three higher training is higher training of wisdom. And when we talk about the one which endows the virtuous qualities of the legs, spiritual legs, refers to the two other higher trainings, higher training of meditation and higher training of morality. And so the special insight of vipassana meditation practice through which one attains the wisdom is by combining the spiritual eye, which is the learned one, referring to the learned one is one who endows the spiritual. A virtuous one in this translation is actually one who endows the qualities that supports the wisdom to cultivate it. Wisdom is cultivated only on the basis of morality and concentration meditation.
Never keep singing the Sanskrit Sunga da singing the but church travel, never more dancing true coach or somebody. You know, they tap the Vochana, Lam Devon and they would actually keep us and so on, somewhere. They were keep us.
Then the word Sugata. Sugata is meaning actually translated, can be translated as well gone. Well gone, meaning great Indian master Dharmakirti gave a very lengthy 6 topics to expound on this meaning of the word Sugata. But here, for the sake of simplicity, the word Sugata refers to those who have set their feet on the path of the great well-being, and who have reached to the result or fruit of attainment of ultimate enlightenment, which is the ultimate wellness. So Sugata meaning gone from state to path of well-being to the result of well-being is called Sugata. Gata means gone, Su means well, gone perfectly well.
Then Sonja Chode Uma Yinsum, but Uma Tawa Uma Tali Mulumbe in the Tawa Uma, Sheba Uma se. Sheba Uma se to the Hajong then Domjur Chemona Trobosha, Hajong Trotosona, Niamon Chegiori, Niamon Desha. Gala Kawaja na, then he don't Chegiori. Jata, that's how to hear don't point and do Hajo never chebut Maimba, never chebutal Manumba. Then a Kangal Talam Manumba, the Regicalam going in Talam, they were hinsum. The path or teachings given by Buddha is the middle way. The middle way is that which is able to avoid the two dangerous extremes of the two that are very unsafe. So the teachings of the Buddha talk about having the view that is a middle way, and that is avoiding these two extremes of eternalism and nihilism. And the conduct that is also middle way is if one indulges in great material wealth, then it exacerbates one's desire and attachment and indulgence, and therefore it fosters the growth of one's desire and attachment. So that is the extreme conduct. Extreme conduct is indulgence, because it promotes desire. Another extreme the conduct is great difficulties. If you face a lot of physical difficulties, then the great physical difficulties create a lot of aversion in the mind, and so therefore that is extremes of aversion. So the
conduct that is middle way should be one which is able to avoid these two extremes of aversion and extremes of attachment because of the conduct. One who is able to follow a middle way of a conduct of that is what is called the conduct that is adhering to the middle path. Therefore, it is called the path that is well-being, because path that is itself is so safe to travel on, is the conduct that itself doesn't fall into these two extremes, is what is called the path that is itself as well on which you travel.
Kashe chenpo che yore, tena sonje ke lo tudu kashe chenpo che, tela yari gen, xiala ye she, zubo yobo che, gam che ne, tarpa tobi surte bari, te yen, konde tombo ne chen ke yore, te yen le, ten ke yore, kashe cheba chombe, kashe ke ka kunduku ya ma res, tena sama yobo che, gam che na, tena te tarpa tobi res, dat ten bari.
There are many non-Buddhist, what we call outside practitioners, meaning outside practitioner, Chirolpa, meaning the outside Buddhist tradition. There are other practitioners who greatly promoted the practice of asceticism and self-modification. And Buddha himself also actually showed, as he also engaged in the practice of 6 years of ascetic meditation practices. He wasn't quite showing that the way that one should adopt is way of bringing great hardship on oneself. He's simply showing that this actually is not one of the ways. This actually is one of the extremes. So therefore Buddha is skillfully showing his 6 years of ascetic meditation as one of the extremes that one shouldn't follow, because one should therefore eat reasonably pleasant food and then practice, because when this kind of dual good harmony meets, then your meditation practice will increase. It is only through meditation practice that you gain realization, not through self-modification.
Jiten chenpa sato chu khenchen teke chu nyegen loma teke heju kandalu heku yore. Yasan jiten sana durja namje moba kanda yame, ombo noturu kanda yame. Kole tene nyentu tobya, sonje tobya ke rindabu kanda yame, taso konga chenge yore sumba jiten chenpa.
So next is the knower of the world. Here is the quality of the Buddha is one who knows, or one who completely realizes the nature of predisposition and aptitude of all sentient beings. All the would-be trainee sentient beings, mental capacity and the aptitude is understood. Know of the world, meaning the know of the mind and aptitude of the trainee. And so therefore Buddha is able to see the sharpness and dullness of the faculty of each and every sentient being, whether their characteristics suit the teachings of the Sravakas or whether they suit the cases, suit the teachings of the higher kind. So therefore Buddha sees the actual seed of the Buddha nature in each and every sentient being and the sharpness and dullness of their faculties. And so therefore Buddha is completely aware and knows the nature and predisposition of each and every trainee would-be disciples.
Shebunduri kalu jurwa sa pena so gadi kalu pate kalu jurshana memo treatment chonchel no ge daga no ge shebunduri shebusana lama namji nyemo ban duri gone tarbi chonche to treat no ge inde shebunduri kalu jurwa.
The charioteer and tamer of beings here refers to just like an ordinary navigator or driver or pilot takes people from one city to another city safely by departing a place of departure and reaching the city of destination. Likewise, the teaching of the Buddha, whose teaching actually enables those journeying sentient beings on the path of Dharma, tamer meaning it tames the actual, changes the nature, conduct of each and every being, and leads and takes them away from their the place of suffering to the actual citadel of nirvana. And this is therefore, Buddha is the charioteer, the driver that protects everyone in the safe ground and rescues them from the troubled spots.
Lana me ba tsu kalu jongken di kona men ken di yin che ba pe na song je ge san che no le tene pen tap du ka du yeme zi pen tap du me na ya ge de ga se ya ma le dao xie xie ne chen ne ga ge pen tap du te le du tene do je kan de ji na song je dur mu tu pa me kong gan dur ge yo re sum ba dur ka la nyamo che jun su yin na dur ge yin za.
And the word, the unsurpassable one, refers to, although there are many charioteers and many guides, and the Buddha is the unsurpassable one, whose qualities are completely incomparable by other beings, meaning there is no one like but the Buddha who is able to guide each and every sentient being. Buddha knows exactly the timeliness of when, where, and how to actually benefit sentient beings. There are times that the beings are not ripe and ready to be benefited by the Buddha, so is able to make careful analysis and examination, the appropriateness of the timeliness and the location, I suppose, so therefore able to provide help and guidance to each and every sentient being, whereas other charioteers would not have that such a knowable capacity or ability to examine. But Buddha has, no matter how difficult some sentient beings' mental aptitude may be, however ferocious their defilements are, when the time ripens, Buddha is able to execute the necessary means to tame the relevant trainee. Therefore, it is called unsurpassable one. There's no one who is able to perform the actual way of guiding beings like the Buddha.
Zawane katar mutub kenchi, te rabdu shu mutub ken. Yore, te sonje ke tamke momu che ne, te rabdu shu ju ne, ju le rat chomba top sone. Te so chembo.
For instance, the Buddha had one half-brother by the name of Nanda, and he, unlike many of other of his counterpart, was very unwilling to take ordination because of attachment and a desire. But the Buddha was able to exercise all kind of skillful ways of taming him successively, and ultimately Buddha succeeded in taming him to take ordination. So that's why Buddha is an unsurpassable tamer of sentient beings.
Tene hedon chambo somu chima chise metong ro ni ge no ji ma song ken chise pare te song je ke ndur shena tama da chamba toso.
Likewise, one who is with a very excessive hatred disciple is Angulimala. Angulimala, who killed 1,000 people, only less by one, so meaning 999 people, and he, due to complete ferocity of his anger, but Buddha, through his skillful means, gradually tamed Angulimala and set on the path.
Lobjong Sedu Tom Busen in Lord Sanctuary, take a Lord Simatu, Sedutana Buji, Busedutana Amji there. Tembe Tam get on him, Chu Lop Chudu, Chu Heat, and a Drajamba Chow Jima, Chu Tenke, Garoyan, and Chavari.
Lamchumpa.
Lamchumpa, sorry.
And likewise, one disciple of the Buddha who was completely known for his ignorance, called Lamchungpa, and whenever he studied anything, he were to repeat or memorize a text. When he repeat Om, he would forget Om Bu. When he repeat Bu, he will forget Om. So he was so stupid and dull that he wasn't possibly able to remember anything. But Buddha skillfully, however, patiently guided him to overcome his limitation. And later on, Lamchungpa became one of the very excelled disciples of the Buddha, called Pantaka.
Sambala tende tembare ngosara chembo jindu yinayo ngaro da chamba yin tenga drachete tende mombo jino le talete sonje jeju chene da chamba topso.
And likewise, one disciple of Buddha who had a terrible arrogance and pride is called Uruvela-Kashyapa, and he had not actually reached arhatship himself, even though he witnessed immense qualities of Buddha and Buddha who showed various miracles, powers, but nevertheless Uruvela-Kashyapa always thought that I'm myself arhat, and he therefore failed to see many of the qualities. But Buddha skillfully, even Uruvela-Kashyapa's arrogance was subdued through his skillful way. So therefore Buddha is the tamer of all beings, no matter how excessive their defilements are. So next is the teacher of gods and human beings, meaning all the great teachers of the world shows the ways, but the Buddha shows the primary trainee of his teachings are humans and gods, and therefore guide them, set them on the path, and then leads them to liberation.
Dunga yen je belongo demba yete dunga yen jene tarwa to belongo demba yete jesa la menon de chu thank.
So how does the Buddha act as a teacher of gods and human beings? Is in order to achieve higher rebirth. Buddha shows in order to achieve temporarily higher rebirth, Buddha shows them how to overcome, how to restrain from non-virtuous deeds, and how to exercise virtuous deeds. In order to attain ultimate liberation, Buddha gives them extensive teachings on the Four Noble Truths. And thus he teaches first to correct their wrong ways, and to attain temporal state of rebirth, higher rebirth, then ultimately leading them to actual liberation through understanding of the Four Noble Truths. And thus he is the teacher of all human beings.
Sonje sajute Buddha sajute ni seva to meto jeva ni lu koge imare te pe ke to te ni ki tan do du ga ne tene sonje jeva ne jen son yen de jeva na sonje.
So the word is the Buddha. Buddha is this. All those qualities we listed above is the Buddha. The word Buddha in Tibetan is Sangye, which means awakened. Awakened meaning one who's awakened from the sleep of faults, and who is able to expand the flower of qualities. Yeah, awakened one is one who is awakened to eradicate all the faults of ignorance and defilements, and awaken with the flower-like qualities. So blossoming with the qualities. So ye meaning that expands with the qualities, flower of qualities, while extinguishing all the faults. So one who relinquish all the faults and replacing them with the flower, blossom of quality is called Sangye. In short, ignorance is dispelled and intelligence is illuminated.
Jamden de sadu dana bangawen saju banga sajute jamba jan jamba to yende demba ni galo ko yimbari jaza jamden sadu jan jamba don demba yende yaba don demba sayori bena jan yamo bala so jan yende zu nzeba don zanju pensum so bala so yende don demba na yo Jom Den say, then Gaza baby Kelly, the Nigal Yambo Magun, Sanskrit Kelly will be able to Jom Den say go to Jom Sing at the Leba Lamuko, Jam Pon Lamuko, Jom Den say. There said you there, then Jitim was not that now like Jom Den segment, lay den say, lay den selling Jitim Lako, and Jitim Lala move Chedu, then lots of them can dare say to baby cheese started with his neck over the issue of some making.
The word Bhagavan is a Sanskrit word which actually means destroying, destroyer and endowed with qualities. Meaning destroying here refers to one who has destroy all faults. Yeah, destroy all faults. Word Bhaga, and then the word Bhagavan. The word one actually means possessor of the qualities. Word one means one with the qualities, having destroyed all the faults and having endowed with all the qualities. And so when we're talking about the faults, that are destroyed, are defilements and karma. The qualities we're talking about, one who, when appears in the world, has exquisite physical appearance that is so beautiful and attractive that defies anyone's imagination, whose qualities of diligence and all the other qualities are just unimaginable. So these are the qualities that he endowed. And so word Bhagavan is this word that we have in Sanskrit. When Tibetan translators translated the word Bhagavan into Tibetan, Chom meaning destroy or subjugate, and then is to endow, De, Chom Den De means to go beyond. Of course there are other worldly, other great teachers or teachers in various spiritual traditions, which are called Legden in Tibet. Legden means one who endows all the positive qualities. Legden. But when Tibetan translators, since Buddha surpassed all ordinary teachers who have limited qualities, but yet highly respected qualities by the worldly beings, Buddha's qualities, however, surpass them. Thus, Tibetan teachers, translators added the third syllable, Chom Den De. De means to go beyond, one which transcend the other qualities endowed by the other great spiritual masters, meaning the worldly qualities. The Buddha's qualities transcend worldly qualities of spiritual masters. That's why the word Bhagavan is translated in Tibetan Chom Den De, and Sanskrit doesn't quite carry the last particle, the meaning of the last particle in Tibetan.
Tegin kiba tene sanam tog jutemba san reburi sanam mombosak reburi yinsi tandar pena sonje kule yante momboyo sungle tu yante momboyo teso konga yante rere gindu sanam momboji saba yinza saba reburi yinza sanam tog jutemba.
The Tathagata is in accord with all merits. Here refers to the enlightened one has so many qualities that are inconceivable, qualities of the body, qualities of speech, and qualities of mind of the enlightened one are results. In accord with all the merit means merits usually are results. So the results that actually accord, or meaning correspond to the causes, that meritorious causes that has been created. All merits means inclusivity. There is no other merits that are left to be accomplished. So that the Tathagata is therefore is accomplisher of all the possible wholesome qualities that needs to be accomplished. So this is talking about the embodiment. The Tathagata is embodiment of all the qualities of merits.
Gevitsavano chumisawa. Then say the sonje tobi tanda chebi geta tenam. Then it's semchedo manam zisimba yinza balamdu trolab machine se mazone. Karlam nyone chabate konga drebetel membushu rechebat then Gevitsavano chumisawa.
He does not waste the roots of virtue, meaning the enlightened one who have engaged into the path, first with the generation of the bodhicitta and with aspiration of prayer and dedication. In every single act of the bodhisattva's conduct, accompanying these three essential characteristics, has made it possible so that every single virtuous deeds were made so that they do not go wasted. Because any virtuous deed that lacks the correct bodhicitta motivation and dedication ends do go wasted. But Bodhisattva, the enlightened one, has made so careful that this doesn't happen. Thus, the actual fruits of enlightenment is one who has succeeded in making that every roots of virtue endowed those qualities of motivation of bodhicitta and aspiration and dedication.
When a Janzo champion Chutiba Chi Lugavina, Jamso Mazak, but Chute Zoya Malaysia. But taken to Tatange Sonja Top Shirdu, gave it our Chi Shagona, Geta de Zoya Tan Yamari Sado, Malaysia, Bana, Jitemi Geta Yana, Revamenta to say, Teme Gina, Lamida Jam Sado, Sonja Milduche. For
instance, if one were to put a drop of water in the ocean, until the ocean dries, it is impossible for the drop of water that we put in the ocean to go dry. Likewise, if any roots of virtue that is dedicated for the sake of enlightenment, for the benefit of all sentient beings, will have that kind of ability to stay long as the ocean of virtues of enlightenment stays for the benefit of sentient beings. But unlike the virtues of worldly beings who create wholesome deeds for specific purposes, and as soon as the result is realized, then seed's gone as well. And as those Shravakas who seeks their personal liberation, as soon as they reach arhatship, then they don't have any effect whatsoever. It is unlike those examples when you totally engage in roots of virtue that is dedicated with the motivation to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. This highlights the importance of us, whatever small or minor activities of virtue that you engage in with your body, speech, and mind. One should not fail to offer dedication that may this be our cause that will eventually culminate to the attainment of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. And this is very important to remember ourselves, to incorporate with every single activities of virtue that we engage in.
Zebe Jamba, Conga Gabatrome Mombo, Zeba Gante, Piti in Rebu, Kuzu Kendo Zebu Shuayanza, Zebe Jambas, Jan Shebadon Yen, Zebin Rebu, Kuzu Kendo Zebu Yanza, Zebe Jamba.
He is completely ornamented with all patience, refers to that the Buddha, the fully enlightened one who has cultivated the practice of patience and all other virtues of the courageous one for many uncountable eons, and the results and fruits of those patience and virtues cultivated so for many eons, it is now manifestly in the actual appearance of the Buddha and in the form of major and minor marks. So all the beautiful appearance, complete appearance of the Buddha is like the ornaments. It's not artificial ornaments put on the neck or anything like that, but his whole physical appearance as it is fully born with those qualities, because they are the fruits of the patience and virtues cultivated throughout so many eons.
Tada pena zeba gamdena jiwa jemano zu zeba chogyo resi kongro long domba nabu tena ten zeba jemano minzeba ndo nabu to chogyo resumba
This also implies that if we were to practice patience in this lifetime, it will inherit us a very attractive and beautiful body. Whereas if we are short-tempered and should become very angry, we will have a very complete contrary to that. We would be very unattractive, very ugly appearance in the next rebirth.
This episode depends on social nasa shuanda take semba mutu ziba meza. Then chutu kashe tesola ke semba mutu yenge neseche. Then yenge chebatu zinge kebano tesoke semba mutu ne zegam shete zeba segi.
Patience refers to the object to which you actually tolerate. For instance, illness. When you are suffering from illness, you don't become demanding and intolerant to things like that. You try to persevere to tolerate the pain, however distressing it is. You try to tolerate the pains of the illness, and do not let the mind to become agitated and demanding. And that is also practice patience with when one is feeling ill. Also practice patience while you're practicing dharma, when you face difficulties. Maybe it's you're feeling hard, tired, or whatever it is. Instead of losing to the tiredness, you persevere and tolerate the distress, and then that becomes practice of patience. Likewise, if someone were to trouble us, cause us difficulties, we do not retaliate them, but rather try to persevere and try to find the tolerance within oneself. These kind of practices are what we call patience. Practicing these, therefore, gives us the ornaments, the qualities of the patience that we are referring to.
Tina songje kama chongchu sema chibika le wena jile zeba kam yuye du. Tina jige chirong kai so yin se du zeba mawa yin she. Tina ku songje kuzu de mambu tubari che tubshe da so yin se du. Kaza tum na yon ta don zeba mawa yin song de bale.
So, in one of the Buddha's previous lives, while practicing in a solitary retreat, he was meditating, and then someone came to inquire what he was doing. He says, "I'm practicing patience." And then the troubler, person who caused trouble, actually strike him, beat him, and punish him, and did all sorts of humiliating things. But Buddha instead retaliating, used that very encounter as to encounter itself as an opportunity to intensify his practice of patience, and therefore that particular rebirth was what is called known as the Bodhisattva's rebirth of patience, one who expounded and lived as a virtue of patience.
Sanam jitter namji yes ter sana longsha saju me bi longsha chil ter se yodo. Te no yen sonje te kono kaza sanam teme baji zuba yenta sanam jitter namji yesum.
He is the basis of the treasure of merits, meaning when we say treasure is a treasure refers to a store where all the qualities or wealth or precious things is inexhaustible. There's no way of exhausting or running short. Likewise, Buddha is the basis or object or shrine on the basis of which all the other sentient beings can accumulate merit. So therefore, whoever comes in contact with the Buddha, he is that like a treasure to them, on the basis of which they can accumulate wholesome qualities.
Di geta de chola junro mares geta chunchun shenayo sonje te yuru nyambo yinsa te sanam chambo sawe somebody.
This really means that his basis of treasures of merit is whatever faith you show to Buddha, however small offerings of flour you make to the Buddha, with your sincere faith, whatever you do, they will never go wasted. However, whatever the thing happens to the things you offer, because of the fact that you offer to the Buddha, it will never go astray. Therefore, whatever you do in relation to the Buddha, it becomes a meritorious deed.
Beje zombo namji jeba, chen namji medo jeba, se sonje chen zombo sunchi sonyin dong, beje jeju yo res, di chen de bego na, hindong li medo raba, hindong zebar shi medo raba li. Beje de medo zebar shi sen ruta.
So, he is adorned with minor marks, he blossoms with the flower of major marks. This refers to the major and the minor marks of the Buddha. The major marks is like a tree that has huge and healthy branches. And the minor marks are the flowers, the actual the very seeds of the flower that makes them to blossom. So therefore, the fully enlightened one is endowed with both major and minor marks, like a tree that is beautifully adorned by the fruits and flowers. The marks here refers to that enlightened beings have distinctive marks of enlightened one, such as the protuberance and the wheel and the palms and the soles of the feet. These are the marks of the distinguished enlightened beings. The very sublime beings only have those distinguishing physical features. When the minor marks refers to such as the redness of the lips and the rosy cheeks and whatever attributes, additional attributes that actually go to highlight the very major beauty that is actually not major beauty, but it is also in specific details. It is also beautiful in its own sense. So those are refers to minor marks.
Shayu rimba temba, shayu sana sonje shalam swimba. Rimba mari rimba tsere, rimba temba, sonje shaba kar nona yo. The duji lo tsombo jungu yo res mau badon dujar pe matuba gumare. Sonje pen uji tona yo, tada meba ro mare, samchen goya tanda do rimbo tada shegi yo res.
His activity is timely and appropriate, refers to the conduct of the Buddha, the very enlightened conduct of the Buddha. There is no single act of Buddha or single effort of Buddha that has no purpose, that is not timely or that is inappropriate. Even when the Buddha breathes, it has a specific purposes to benefit sentient beings. So all Buddha's activities are always carefully adapted to the need of the would-be disciples, and therefore it properly fits to the need of the actual aptitude of each and every sentient beings, and they are therefore timely.
Tuna metenba meba sonje njar shuna lodu metenba ya maris lodu metenba sana banhi maro lomba jurguya lodu maro katende june ya maris.
Seeing him, he is without disharmony. I mean, if anyone who is fortunate enough to witness the Buddha, there will be none who said, I wish I could go away from here, I didn't like it. Some people may turn their head towards others as soon as they see something. But this does never happen. When anybody who sees the Buddha, it completely creates a harmonious feeling in the mind of individual. It doesn't create any agitation or inappropriateness of seeing or being, or the actual space where they are is most appropriate. They never feel like turning their neck somewhere as soon as they see the Buddha, but they feel completely captivated by the very presence of the sight, the enlightened sight of the Buddha.
Debe muba nala ngambarga sonje la debi gona sonje njene muba shene sonje njarwa yina ngambarga the lubo devo samba gabo ko gyares pena something yani gamkente so gam chedu devo yore tele jon desaji ludon sam devo to chibo gyares.
he brings true joy to those along with faith, meaning those who have strong devotion and longing faith to witness and see and hear the teachings of the Buddha. And whoever have these, as soon as they cultivate this faith within themselves, it brings physical pliancy, meaning physically they feel completely well and happy, and mentally they are completely blissful. And this is the effect of the very being in the presence of the Buddha. It is even those who meditate for a little while, those who meditate, during the time of meditation they are very calm and peaceful. And the Buddha, who has accomplished the ultimate result of doing the practice of meditation, is able to cause beings to generate true meaning, meaning that joy that is not going to be robbed by conditions, but stay long with their mind. And the body also feel very, very blissful. Mind is very, very joyful. And these two qualities of the body and of spirit can be cultivated whoever is able to extend their faith and longingly cultivate the faith in the Buddha.
Sonje Kherap, Sonje Chenrap te Yenda Sukong Kichung Sirjinan to Maris, Ben Chevasena, Zeba Jamna Tendakazu Sukong Sonje Powat into Maris, Sonje Chambate Yenda Luru Sirjinan, remember, Sur Sirjinan to Maris.
His knowledge cannot be overpowered, means the enlightened intelligence of the Buddha is such that it cannot be challenged, or there may be challenged, but it could not be overpowered. Either people investigate, people engage in debate, or they ask very naughty questions. Whatever the opponent do, none of the opponents is able to overpower or refute the knowledge of the Buddha. The opposite happens. Whoever comes to meet the Buddha and encounters his knowledge, all of their supposed knowledge become completely overpowered, and therefore this is the expressions of the unsurpassable quality of the enlightened, the knowledge of the Buddhas.
Kola Mumbo Retum Che, Tidon the Minon Jew, the Sonja the country Cuba, King Kong, Kola, Sonja Chimanchikin Lute. There are no again. Kaja mentions such a chicken, you don't tell them, Maison Mumbo, Reku, Retum Che, Minty, Sonja the country could do Sonja the Tata Temperatures.
For instance, when Buddha was challenged by Devadatta, who actually collected wood